Hello guys, my name is Aaron Munoz, here on the Let the Writers Write YouTube channel, and I'm going to show you how to effectively key out green screen for your talent. I'm here on HollywoodCameraWork.com, and I want to, if you go up top, you go to the green screen plates, and I'm going to download this one, the Match Move Test Close. The link is right here, and what you're going to get is a whole bunch of images. It's a zip file, and you extract it and you get this. The advantage of exporting images, although I don't know why they're doing this, but I can see maybe because PNGs are lossless. These are PNG images. The color data is a little bit better. Well, it can be much better depending on how big you make your PNGs. Some people are familiar with the red cameras and the black magic cameras. They have the ability to record in images instead of a solid video. The advantage to that is it's like film. You get stills. You get a whole bunch of stills, and then you have to manually stitch it, as opposed to video files that the format itself does the stitching for you, but if anything gets corrupted in that video file, you're done, as opposed to video or images. And also if you're exporting, rendering, stuff like that, the advantage is that if anything happens halfway through your job and it crashes or something, all the images that have already exported will be saved on your computer, and you just start up right where you left off on the next frame and stuff. So that's the advantage, and it's very simple to import. I have this open, and I'm going to start over for you guys, and you go to File, Import, and you can do this in Premiere too. Go to File again, and you have to select the very first frame and make sure this is checked, the PNG sequence box. It's kind of goofy the way Adobe does it. It doesn't let you actually select the frames you want. So if you have mixed footage in a folder and stuff, you're going to have problems. You want to only have the footage you need in that single folder. And also notice that it's got a numerical system on it. If there's no numbers on it, Adobe's not going to know how to import it. Select the first frame, that's checked, and import. And bam, we have a video. So let's drag this down so we can make a new composition. And then well, let's make this, for some reason they squash the video, and you have to unsquash it, I guess. So let's go to the comp settings. Let's make this 1920. I have my aspect ratio unlocked, so make sure you have that, or you're going to mess up your height. Okay. It's good. Now you have to stretch this out. And this is probably something you'll never ever have to do again. It's just because we're using this free screen or green screen plate, and so I don't know why they chose to do it that way. I think their website said it was to give people the option of working in 720 or 1080, which no one does 720 anymore. I don't know their problem. But anyway, to each their own. So now we want to select our video. Let's apply an effect, key light, and then the famous color picker. Bam. Green is gone. I just chose a random space and the green is gone. So what does that mean? Well, we have transparency in our face. We have transparency in our coat. So a lot of you guys may have learned that green screen is not a you don't just, it's not a one button kind of thing. You have to do some manual stuff. So we want to stay away from final result in this view. We want to actually use intermediate. That's the first thing I want to implore to you. Do not use final result. Then the second thing is we're going to use the combine matte and the status. Those things are very important. So if we go to combine matte, this is basically telling us that our alpha channel is grainy, the black, and our luma channel is or Luma matte is grainy, the white. So we want whites to be whites and blacks to be blacks here. So the next parameters you're going to need, and this is it, you don't have to mess with anything else, is the screen mat. And there's a few here that you might need. So first let's clear out the alpha channel. That looks pretty clean. Maybe bump it up to, let's use 10. Ease up on the crunching. And let's clip the white. Let's see. Code is still a little transparent there. And bam, gone. So let's look at it again. Okay, and you might be thinking, well, why not the final result? This looks a lot better. And yeah, we can preview that right now like that, but I'll show you exactly why I don't want you to use final result. Because it does a lot of the work for you. It doesn't give you control that you need, and you're going to see how much better we're going to do this, okay? So let's reset this. I'm not happy with this, and I'm going to tell you why. We started off wrong because we did not methodically select this color. The most important thing about, I'm going to hit escape, green screen is selecting the best color. So the best way to do this is double click on your video so that you can open up the layer itself. If you don't have these two windows, what you can do is you're going to drag. What might happen is that you'll full screen your layer like that, and all you have to do, well, mine's already set up like that, but the way you see this purple stuff light up like that, it's going to light up right here, and you want it to light up right here and let go. And I'm going to open up my project. I'm going to double click my composition again, just so we have them both. So I have my composition on the left, layer on the right. I want to make sure that my view is set to whatever effect is above the key light. If you have other stuff that has a whole bunch of effects and stuff that you wanted to maybe tweak the brightness and contrast and then key it, and you have effects up here above the key light, you want to make sure that you want to select in the hierarchy, I guess you want to select the effect right above key light on the view. And the reason why is because then we're going to open up the key light. Let's go to status. We're going to get our color picker, and if you hit Alt without clicking, just hit Alt, it's going to let you preview the color that you're picking. If you notice it right here, it also shows you what color you're looking at. So if you hit Alt, it's basically showing you what that color does in real time. And we want to pick a color, a green. It's pretty amazing to think that there's so much green here, but look at what it does. It doesn't do much for you, and then you have to really crank the values to get the result you want. So instead, let's let the color picker do the job for us. This looks pretty good. I've got some detail in the hair. There's a little bit of noise up here still. I'm going to keep looking. That looks pretty good right there. You don't want to go so overboard on the color that you lose so much detail. You want to leave a little bit of detail on the edges. Let go of Alt, click without moving the mouse so that you select that exact color you were hovering over. And let's see what it looks like. Yeah, very nice. Have some hair detail. Okay, it's a little blurry and stuff and fuzzy. It's not the best footage. It's not full 1080, I think. It's bad. It's just bad, but this is a good scenario. Whoop, select that again. So let's go to the combined matte and see what's going on. So we can see that the Luma needs to be clipped. Okay, nice. Now we have a nice Luma matte. We have a little bit of gray right by her shoulder. We don't want to worry about the stuff out here. You can always just mask it with a pen tool, and because otherwise you're going to mess with. What's important is that she looks good, and the edge around her looks good. Everything else, you just make a garbage mat that gets rid of it. So there is a little bit of noise here, and because it is right next to her shoulder, we have to mess with that a bit. So let's see, the lowest I can go is 3. Let's try 4. Let's try 5. There we go. Nice. Okay, so we let's preview it actually. Okay, so you might think this looks horrendous, right? So I will explain to you, I promise, why you want to stay in intermediate. Now the next parameters that we can mess with is the shrink and grow. The shrink and grow. You can shrink your the mat so that in all those little nooks and crannies you can shrink the mat and kind of cheat it that way by kind of removing some detail, but getting rid of the fuzziness at the same time. You can also blur the screen a bit. You don't want to exaggerate this too much because then it makes it obvious that you gave her a haircut. In fact, I might leave it at 0. So you're still thinking, this looks horrendous, right? So the next magical tool is the key cleaner. This key cleaner, what it does, I don't know the science behind it, but what it does is gives you a happy medium. Medium. I don't know. Anyway, it just makes it transparent, but at the same time adds a little bit more edge to it. If you can see that. See it just kind of gives you a nice fade and gives it the illusion that the hair is kind of slowly fading out, right? And you might want to select chatter, reduce chatter. You want to be careful not to be too intense, because then you'll start making the edges, the sleeves and stuff like that, arms and all that, a little too transparent. But that can also be fixed on the shrink and grow. Let's go to 0. Okay, let's stick it to 0 because we are losing a little bit too much edge if we shrink it anymore. And then you might be thinking, this still looks pretty bad, right? So now what we do is add this magical plugin called Advanced Spill Suppressor. Now look at that. Look at how awesome. Suddenly we have detail. We have her her skin color again, and her tone is back to normal. We don't have that ugly green. And then we can take it even a step further. Let's collapse key cleaner and select the green that you selected here. They almost look identical, but they're not. So let me hit escape just to move up a bit. Let's select this green, and if you notice, it does an even more custom job. You might want to hold on. I forget which parameters to use with this because I typically like the magic bullet of it, but honestly just that alone does amazing, even if you don't mess with the parameters here. I think maybe just saturate it a bit, bring down the tolerance a bit. Anyway, you can reset it, and even in standard is pretty awesome. What I'm going to do is just not mess with the parameters, but still select that color. Let me undo that. I think that this, looks standard right here. Let's do ultra. We get a little more detail in the fine edges here. And what it's doing, if we turn off the key, is it's turning that green screen into that brownish color, and it just brings back a normal color again. So there you go. That's what it looks like. If we turn off the checkerboard thing, yes, it looks a little fuzzy, but you also have to realize this is not the best footage. But for what it looks like, I mean, that's amazing. So let's compare this to, turn off these two effects here, go to final result, and look at that ugly blockiness. So go to intermediate, key cleaner. Amazing, right? Look at that. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this really helped. I hope you guys can do some amazing stuff. Feel free to post it. If you'd like to add anything to this tutorial, just feel free to comment below. Subscribe, like, and share this video to all your friends. Have some fun doing some green screen stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.